Following Takahada coming out here and dropping that doc, Mistress Doom, EJ or JE or whatever her thing was, has made a statement via her attendant. Okay? This is her carer, Jimmy. Hello. This is the carer of Mistress Doom. Some of you know me as Jimmy. I'm posting this brief statement on here on her account on her behalf so that she does not have to traumatize herself further. These are her words for now. Finally, a chance to speak after a year and a bit of suffering from someone's actions. Will kinda speak. This is an active police investigation. Nothing about this case should be public as it is in the hands of the police and actively being investigated. This has been a police case since August 2024. Taka publicly posting this document is a crime and breaks the Sexual Offense Amendment Act 1992, which states alleged victim of rape or sexual assault is granted anonymity for life as soon as they report, which I did back in August of 2024. August of 2024. I want you guys to remember that date. But when it comes to the actual, Sexual Offense Amendment Act 1992, I did pull it up. And I know this is Google AI. It's not too cut and dry. Obviously, I am not a lawyer, but just to give you guys some of the laydowns of what this is, okay? Just to give you guys a broad idea, because this is obviously not going to be as cut and dry. A lawyer will be able to give you a much better breakdown, but honestly, I think she's already screwed herself. The Sexual Offense Amendment Act 1992 is a United Kingdom Act of Parliament that provides lifelong anonymity for victims of certain sexual offenses. The act prohibits the publication or broadcast of any information that could lead to the identification of the victim, encouraging more people to report sexual crimes without fear of public humiliation. This protection applies during the victim's lifetime and is a criminal offense if breached. The act grants victims a qualified sexual offense, included rape and sexual assault, lifelong anonymity. Let me see. I think right here. It prohibits any publication, including online, or broadcast of material likely to identify a complainant in a sexual offense case. Encouraging reporting. The primary aim is to create a safer environment for victims to report sexual crimes by protecting their privacy and dignity. Now, it's not saying this here, but one of the people that do actually fall under this is also the alleged perpetrators of said crimes. Nobody's allowed to talk about this, and that's going to be a key point here when we get into the second part about this. Nobody's allowed to talk about this, period. Okay, remember that. Nobody's allowed to talk about this, period. Including her. I would love to be able to share my story and my evidence. However, it has all been with the police since August 2024. Onwards, I need to speak to the officer in charge of my case as well as my rape crisis advocate before I can make more of a statement regarding any of this. I know this is the court of public opinion and you want evidence, but what Taka did is a crime and is being handled by the police. Twitter has also been made aware that this post is a crime. Well, let's remind people, Taka has a legal team right now. He's been doing everything what appears to be very above board. If you want me to believe that his entire crew told him to go out there and post a crime, I ain't gonna believe it. I ain't gonna believe it. I'm willing to bet you money Takahada had his lawyers look over that entire Google Doc, which if you're watching this as the clip that I'm going to be putting out later, you can go watch me read out through all that Google Doc. I know people on the stream right now are going to be like, I'm talking about a clip. Yeah, I clipped this stuff out. Listen, he's been doing everything above board. I don't have any reason to believe he just committed a crime. And in fact, if somebody committed a crime, I'm willing to bet it's you. Unfortunately, it was around midnight. He did this so neither the police officers involved in the investigation or the advocate are awake, so I have to wait till morning to be able to speak with them and clear what I can publicly share. Sure. I put none of this public and never wanted it to go public, nor did I want anyone to know that I was the victim of that. I know I can't give the evidence right this second, but now the police have had the phone logs and his lawyer letters since the end of January/February 2025, and as of literally today, 9th September, when I spoke with them, they were still actively pursuing the investigation. I have given no one permission to share this story, and most of the people claiming they have heard my side and spoken to me are lying. I have proof of everything. I claim it is just tied to a police case, which I will provide proof of as soon as the officers in charge of the case and my advocate are awake. But now I wouldn't have a police officer in charge of a grape crisis advocate for nothing. And a grape crisis advocate for nothing. Just gonna hop right back on over here, guys. Just for a second. We've had a lot of people talk about this. Okay, we've had a lot of people talk about this. I want to just hop back over here. What he said just yesterday. My legal representatives in January of 2025 contacted the individual who started this, but have yet to receive any response from the individual in question. They've been covering this for a long time. They've been watching over everything. They've been discussing this. They've been going over this. He obviously has a strong legal representative, and they're doing the best they can. But furthermore, if you haven't told anybody about this, why do we have these going around? And I know this is kind of hard to see, but this is from Red Claw. And again, Adora put this out. This should send an order. This is everything before it happened, with the exception of the last text he sent, which was after it happened. Censored for victim safety. These are all the DMs, by the way. These are all the DMs. So everybody was talking about this in January. Officers don't authorize the release of information. A lawyer or judge does. She's dumb, and so is her handler. All I'm going to say is this is obviously UK law. UK law does not work the same way as American law, so take that as you will. But we're going to cut back over here. Just know this is not American law. That's why, like, this particular thing here is United Kingdom Act. These people, one's in Canada, one's in the UK. Alleged victim lives in the UK, the alleged perp lives in Canada. You already got that working against you, buddy. I'm sorry, something here ain't passing the sniff test. Once again, this is a police case. None of this should None of this should be shown publicly, and outing my name is a crime. Please allow me the space to speak with the police and the advocate, and know that having a trauma that has almost oft used against your oft you outed against your will is a trauma I will never forget. I am a real person with feelings who has suffered for over a year with this. If I must make this clear publicly, then let this be my word to listen to. As a victim in this investigation, I do not currently consent for anyone to speak on my behalf other than my carer at this moment. The only consent previously given in the past was to only state there was an ongoing police matter and nothing further. Any posts that targeted the situation publicly were done against my will. If you made a post on my behalf, you did not have my consent. The problem is, how did these people find out about this? How do these people discuss this? Yeah, I was going around. Probably should blame Adora for just throwing that Molotov cocktail into everything. But I want to bring us over here to this dude, okay? Golden Witch. The act and right of anonymity is nullified and lost if the person that is regarded as the victim has made themselves known to too many people that's so many twos, to the point you are no longer anonymous, which is where this comes in. And all the people that were trying to protect her, all the people that were trying to say it, all the vague posters, they probably screwed her. You know, we can come over here to Alicia. My decision to part with him was solely based on the conversation with him. I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he was one of my best friends. Regardless, I am a strong believer in seeing proof of screenshots and taking the person accused to hear them out. In the situation, I only talked to Taka, the accused, and that alone made me leave. There were other women in the scene who interacted with the victim and know more about her side. If there's more people that know about it, you get problems. And we come over here. There were other women, and I'm going to do it like this just because it looks awful. There were other women in the scene who interacted with the victim and know more about her side. I can't speak on their behalf. And I added a little bit there. The fact that there are more people that know about this, that there are individuals that know about this outside of it, that does start hurting your claim and your protections. And then we had this. This was weighed heavily on me since January. The reason I distanced from Takahada 101 earlier this year was because Red Claw has shown me an anonymous victim's allegation of Takahada harming her. I distanced from Taka after I read that. The whole point, if you want to remain anonymous, you have to do it too. If you go about and make yourself known to too much, you are waiving your right to it. Doesn't matter if the other people try to keep your identity safe. It's that you bypass your own anonymity. And what I'm willing to put out here, okay, because she did out herself technically. The person that really screwed you over was Adora. Adora tweeting this out, Red Claw probably as well, but all the people tweeting about you behind the scenes, and then you get Adora tweeting this out, throwing these allegations, I'm willing to bet this gave the window for Takahada to come in here and tell you everything that's going on. And that's why we have this whole thing going on right here, okay? And again, I'm a layman. I'm looking at what I'm seeing. Things aren't adding up. And what I see right here is a woman that is very much upset that this whole play to shut this man down has just blown up. She obviously was trying to weaponize this act, which I am not a fan of, by the way, even though I live in America. This whole act seems atrocious to me. I get the general concept, but goddamn, this seems nightmarish. Nobody able to talk about it, and you just get dragged through the courts. This whole thing here, I'm willing to bet Adora is the reason Takahada could even talk on this. All I'm seeing is a woman now who's very upset that everything's kind of falling apart for her and that she's not going to be able to continue dragging this man through the courts, destroying this man's life and making his life even harder. So I'm willing to bet you money she didn't want this to come out, because reading through that Google Docu, reading through that whole thing, yeah, Takahada, in my opinion, did nothing wrong. And yeah, really did just screw up his life.